Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Thursday, August 10th, 2023. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. A gut-wrenching incident shocked the Greensboro, North Carolina community when a white property manager assaulted two innocent black children at a swimming pool. The attorney representing the victims' families will join us to discuss the pursuit of justice. A shocking story out of Georgia. A young couple, they're demanding answers after their baby's delivery turned into a horrifying nightmare. They say the doctor used excessive force during the birth, decapitating their newborn. We will talk with a doctor tonight about how this could happen and the attorney representing the couple about holding those responsible. Folks, we have a special treat for you also. We sit down with the legendary comedian Earthquake, who is celebrating his 30-year-long career in the industry. He'll highlight his comedic journey and upcoming comedy show at MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Trust me, you don't want to miss it when the two of us get together. Plus, we'll take you to the heart of the Ohio music scene as we bring you a recap of the Cincinnati Music Festival. And, of course, we got more for the Montgomery Brawl. Y'all know it's been a hell of a week, and we might as well keep it going. It is time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
A white Greensboro, North Carolina woman is charged with assaulting two black kids at an apartment complex swimming pool. 62-year-old Kimberly Jennings, property manager of Sagefield Garden Apartments, is charged with 2 counts of simple assault on a child under 12. The incident was caught on the apartment complex's security camera. Jennings is seen here hitting and pouring drinks on the kids. What in the world? Roll the video. You see the two kids playing right there by the pool, and all of a sudden Jennings walks over and for some reason literally begins to pour drinks all over them. Joining me right now is the attorney representing the family, Jason L. Keith. He's joined by Jace Uri, one of the kids, 11-year-old Jace. Glad to have both of you here. So first, Jace, what happened? What were y'all doing? Why? What was the conversation? Why did this woman just come over and pour drinks on y'all?
Tell them what happened, Jace. Roland, first of all, we'd like to thank you for allowing us to be on the show to bring awareness to this. Jace, tell Roland what happened with that young lady, with the lady.
She had hit my sister over a month ago, and
Speak up.
She had hit my sister over half a month ago, and it was like 2 weeks after that happened, and I had came back, well, not, like, it was the same day she had hit her. I had did something about it after I got her loose from her trapping her in there on that day. And then we went back after the day. Well,
Roland, let me help him. He's a little nervous.
Go ahead.
Jace was visiting the pool. It was a hot day. It was one of the hottest days in it was one of the heat streaks in the United States. And him and his sister were visiting the pool. And Kim Jennings is an apartment manager. And apparently she had an issue with him coming to the pool. It wasn't just Jace. There were other kids there as well. They had a prior run-in at some point with Miss Jennings, and it was alleged that she had assaulted his sister, Jayla, once before, and also used racial slurs in reference to Jayla and Jace. The second occasion that was videoed, which is why it has gone viral, Jace was simply visiting the pool, and something happened regarding his sister, and I think he addressed it regarding Miss Kim Jennings. And you see how she visibly assaulted him viciously, unprovoked, by throwing and pouring soda in his face multiple times and smacking him 2 times in the face with the soda can and the soda bottle. And if you look at the way Jace responded by doing nothing, because in terms of talking to Jace, he informed me that she's an adult and he's a kid, and that he didn't feel like he could do anything about it.
Jace and his sister, do they stay at that apartment?
They don't. They stay in the apartment directly across the street.
And so they are there. They're friends, correct?
Correct.
And people are allowed to invite friends over to the pool.
Correct.
So what I'm trying to understand is, are y'all the only black kids playing there? Was she targeting the two of you?
no.
Were y'all the only black kids there?
No. My friend King was the one who invited us over here.
So, bro,
what has been the response so far from the apartment complex?
Well, Roland, they have tried to distance themselves as much as possible. There are some legal strategies that we have in play. Ben Crump is involved in the case, Harry Daniels out of Atlanta, and myself. And we've had some communication correspondence with them. But they've tried to distance themselves, in my opinion, as much as they could. As you know, Ms. Jennings was arrested. She came back and on behalf of the apartment issued a formal apology for what occurred. Of course, you know, Roland, that apology is not enough. When you talk to Jace, he's a shy, regular 11-year-old kid, but he is terrified about what happened. How he reacted and how he responded to that 60-year-old white lady pouring soda in his face, assaulting him with the bottle multiple times, hitting him in his face, just disrespecting him and degrading him to the point to where all he could do is wipe the soda out of his eyes and tell his sister to come on and walk away and go tell his mother is offensive. So we hope and we plan to hold that apartment complex accountable for what happened. And so we're still working behind the scenes, but we have a legal strategy together, and we're going to make sure they pay every dollar that they can to make sure this young man never has to experience nothing like this again, and that they know that this can never happen again on anybody's watch under any circumstances.
Well, wow, that is absolutely insane. I don't care how you feel about somebody. You don't just pour drinks over them because you're pissed off.
Absolutely, Roland. Absolutely. And he's a child, and she's an adult, and he deserves better. And Jay said it best when he said, Mr. Keith, all I wanted was my mother and my father, and I told my sister, and I went home and I told them.
Well, Jace, hopefully you and your sister are doing a lot better. And look, trust your attorneys and be sure to get justice in this case.
Tom, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Gentlemen, thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Roland.
Thank you. I'm going to bring in my pal, Dr. Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University, joining us from Egypt. Part of his annual trip there, Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show on Sirius XM Radio out of D.C. Nola Haynes, Ph.D., Georgetown University, School of Foreign Service out of D.C. as well. I'm going to start with you, Reese. So if people want to understand why black people responded the way they did in Montgomery, it's because of stories like this. Two kids unable to defend themselves, don't lash out, have to take that racial indignity of being mistreated. And again, that's why black people have not only the black people who fought back in Montgomery, but why you've seen black folks with the jokes and the memes and the videos and the chair and everything, because this is the crap that we've had to deal with.
Woo, Chad, I'm glad you didn't come to me with that with Jace there, because I don't know if I could hold my composure. She need her ass whooped. She need that chair upside her head for many reasons. Number one, the drink, if you throw a drink, then you about to get dragged across the damn floor, period. Then you turn around and you hit a child, dragged across the floor, point blank, period. She should be blacked up and all kind of shit in her mugshot just for what she did to those children. Because it wasn't just one child she assaulted, but she assaulted 2 children. And it is traumatizing. And it's going to instill a certain amount of fear in Jace and probably his sister that is unfair to them at that age. I'm disgusted at the fact that there were adults that I can see in that picture around that didn't hop on her ass and drag her across that pool. There's no reason why she should have been able to level that kind of abuse at that young boy with clearly having multiple adults around. That's disgusting. And yeah, they have a saying, monkey know which tree to climb. And she knew that she could only try something like that with a child that is going to be respectful and that is going to feel helpless in that situation. And so I think she needs a taste of her own medicine in terms of what it's like to be helpless and to be defenseless. And so anything that happens to her, in my opinion, is not proportionate to the kinds of harm that she inflicted. The fact that it hasn't been stated that she lost her job is appalling, but take that company, that management company, for every single dime that they have, because this is racist, it's disgusting. And guess what? She chose the right one. But keep trying other people and you're going to end up more like the Montgomery bandits that are now the white people that are now facing charges, as opposed to just being able to get their licks in and go.
And this right here, Greg, is the thing I keep telling people. Black people have had to deal with these incidents. A few years ago, the black woman at a pool with a white man demanding she show an ID to get into the pool. The folks who try to deliver packages, people sitting there selling lemonade. I mean, we've run so many of these stories, it's unbelievable. And look, when you get sick and tired of this crap, again, we always say you're going to roll up on the wrong black person on the wrong day, and hashtag team whip that ass is going to show up.
No, that's true, Roland. I mean, rolling up on the wrong black person is a long tradition in the United States. In fact, the Montgomery story, I think something that's been underemphasized is that the only difference between what happened in Montgomery and 200 plus years of us being in this country is that somebody caught it on tape. We've been having that ass whoopings consistently, and certainly in places like Alabama, Mississippi, and other places. But, there's also a long history of trying to police black bodies around places of recreation, whether it be amusement parks, whether it be pools, places where the public has access. And in this particular case, there's also a tradition, I shouldn't say tradition, there's a history of lawsuits that come as a result of people who have been invited into subdivisions, into private pools by members being excluded from those places because they're black. Certainly, I'm wondering why she hasn't been charged with aggravated assault. In fact, a couple of attorneys here on the trip with us saying, once you've added an object, a Coke bottle, a Coke can, whatever, this could be charged as beyond simple assault, but aggravated assault. And so we don't know whether or not the prosecutor and other people involved in this situation are, in fact, shielding this white woman, which, of course, there's a long tradition of that as well. But finally, these kind of incidents over and over again just emphasize the fact that people act with impunity until they are stopped. And this woman here has certainly, she's certainly facing a situation where I don't know what will happen to her, but I know one thing: she should probably have her head on a swivel from now on in those parts.
Again, Nola, I keep saying it on this show. I'm telling you that there reaches a point when folk ain't playing. And I saw a story the other day. I think somebody's suing a Popeyes worker because some customer was going off on the worker, and the worker just snatched homegirl's braids out of her head. And I've seen it. I've seen where people act a fool with customer service folk, and they are showing all of their ass, and you don't know what that person's been dealing with. You don't know what they've been going through. And folk take a whole lot of stuff, and then when somebody snaps, they're like, oh my God, they snap. Yeah, because you kept acting a fool.
Listen, so I think a lot of people forget that we are free. We are actually free. And, Black folks, for the most part, we just want to live our lives. We just literally want to live our lives. And so we try, when we are out in the world and just living our lives, we're not trying to harm anybody. We're not trying to do anything to people. We literally just want to live our secure lives and do what we can for our families. And then people come and mess with us. Right. And then especially in this environment that we're living in right now, something that I think a great deal about, and how so much of this political environment is so ugly and so toxic, and it's legitimized so much of this behavior. Like, I feel like folks think that we woke up one day and we were back on a plantation. Like, I'm really confused with a lot of this behavior. Like, how do you just think you can just throw something on somebody else's child? And how do you think you can police a Black child's body because that child is Black? I would be very curious to know about her behavior, like what her work history is in that particular, she has some level of authority at this apartment complex. Like, I'm very curious if she has a history of this with other children. This is just not okay. And, the last thing that I want to say about this is this has greater implications. Like, when I'm watching all the different things that are happening, and Lord knows I was laughing at all the Mississippi Melee, Mollywop memes, but through my security lens, I'm wondering, is this like a slow snowball up the hill to some sort of race-related civil war? I've been very careful not to go all the way there, but we are looking at things like this that are happening all the time. And like everyone on this panel has said, it really does take to mess with the wrong one day. What if everybody in Montgomery had guns? So what I think about this is the next escalation, because everyone's at that tipping point. I think it's a combination from quarantine, Trump, tons of things. Everyone is on a tipping point, and that's how I'm looking at all of these things.
Bottom line is here: leave Black folk alone. I'm telling y'all, because it ain't gonna end well. Gotta go to break. We'll be right back. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Be sure, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, folks. See y'all commenting. It's just real easy. Hit a click. Not a problem. Also, download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Also, your dollars make it possible to do what we do. So please join our Bring the Funk fan club. Send check and money orders to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, RolandSMartin.com. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available at bookstores nationwide. Order on Amazon, download the audio version on Audible. And Birmingham, I'm going to be in the house tomorrow, book signing at the Harambe Room, 6 to 8 p.m., 1815 4th Avenue North. We'll be discussing my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. And Lord, they are losing their minds. As you see with Montgomery and this story in North Carolina. We'll be right back.
Question for you. Are you stuck? Do you feel like you're hitting a wall and it's keeping you from achieving prosperity? Well, you're not alone. On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, you're going to learn what you need to do to become unstuck and unstoppable. The fabulous author Janine K. Brown will be with us sharing with you exactly what you need to do to finally achieve the level of financial success you desire through your career.
Because when I talk about being bold in the workplaces, I'm talking about that inner boldness that you have to take a risk, to go after what you want, to speak up when others are not.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Hello, I'm Paula J. Parker. Truly proud on the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder on Disney+. And you're watching Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. So, Senator Joe Manchin, he says, you know what? The Democratic brand is so bad, I'm just considering leaving. Yo, seriously, y'all, he's saying that. You know what? I really think, Joe Manchin is sort of like somebody who's married and they threaten divorce every 2 to 3 months just so they can even get more attention. I'm gonna tell you right now, Greg, I am sick and tired of this grandstanding, fool who wants his ass kissed left and right by Democrats. That's what he is. Joe, this is real simple. Become a Republican, become an independent, or just shut the hell up and stay where you are, because the bottom line is this here. The whining and complaining really gets old and tired.
No, absolutely. I mean, and in an era of particular cynicism in American politics, Joe Manchin must be congratulated for somehow managing to continue to stand out as a shill for the energy companies, as a roadblock to everything from the climate crisis to voting rights. Joe Manchin is a shill. He has extracted a great deal of wealth, relatively speaking, from West Virginia, he and his family enriching themselves in one of the poorest states in the country. And I must say, I mean, again, this man who is a millionaire, who has figured out ways to drain resources for his wife, for his children, in an era when you might think that we are kind of inured to this type of political shillery, Joe Manchin stands out. He's trying to win re-election, of course. No doubt those who are invested in extracting further wealth from the country through the white nationalist party have propped him up, and certainly he might try to attempt to play a spoiler in a presidential election. Manchin is not going off script. Joe Manchin is doing what Joe Manchin does. Joe Manchin thinks. And so as the shill from West Virginia continues to do what he does, we just have to pause and reflect on the fact that this is the state of American politics today.
You know what, Reese? You talk about city girls. He a country girl. I mean, all he wants is attention. This was a quote in the radio interview. I'm thinking seriously. For me, I have to have peace of mind. Basically, the brand has become so bad. The D brand and R brand. You've heard me say a million times, I am not a Washington Democrat. Dude, shut the hell up. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Maserati mansion, yacht owning mansion, millionaire mansion. Wasn't his daughter the one that raised the price of, was it EpiPens? Joe Manchin ain't shit. He is not some white savior rolling in on a white horse. To the extent that the Democratic brand has suffered, it's in large part because of his obstruction. It's because he did things like stand in the way of renewing the child tax credit. It's because he did things like standing in the way of passing the infrastructure, the Human Infrastructure Act that the Congress did. It's because he's standing in the way of voting rights reform. And so he has single-handedly been the spoiler, him along with the cinema, I shouldn't say single-handedly, but double-handedly, I guess you could say, has been one of the main impediments to the Democratic Party progressing even further than what it has. He is, like your book says, white fear is a white man who is grasping at straws to try to maintain some sort of relevancy because the party has slightly, not entirely, but slightly moved away from the white working class Joe Schmo guy in West Virginia and Ohio and has moved to the diverse electorate that is required to win elections through votes, not through gerrymandering, not through suppression, not through purging, and not through stealing, but through actual votes. So, Joe, go sit your punk ass down somewhere. You're not going to be president. You'd be lucky to be senator again. So just shut the hell up. Nobody asked you for your stupid ass opinion.
Nola, he says, he's been thinking about this for quite some time, and he wants to truly be an independent voice. But you sure didn't get elected as one, so you didn't mind running as that D for re-election.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to talk about this through like the lens of like Southern politics and the neck of the woods that he's from. I'm going to go ahead and definitely throw them into kind of like the mix of, coming off a certain way, talking to a certain demographic a certain way, being folksy and all these different things. Like it's been done, but I feel a certain way when, people from my neck of the woods get exploited by folks who use that kind of every guy language. I remember the first time Manchin was on my radar back when Chris Hayes was still on, when he was still doing hardball. Chris Hayes? Wait a minute. Chris Matthews. Chris Matthews. And, Manchin came on the show and he said all the right things. Even some of my family members was like, well, he's saying stuff that makes sense for rural folks in Louisiana. Like he's speaking a specific language. And as we've seen over time, Reese used the word obstructionist. I mean, low key, that's what I pretty much assume that's what his job is. Like, I'm not surprised at all by this announcement because I started to get the feeling that you're not what you say that you're about for all the different reasons listed. But for me, I take offense because it's like, the same group of people continuously get exploited over and over and over by people that have absolutely nothing in common with them, saying that they have everything in common with them and that they're looking out for them. And I just don't think that that's the case.
Yep. I just sit here and again, it's just wonk, wonk, wonk. And here's the whole deal. If you're going to leave, just leave. Just shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Like all this, oh, I might stay. I might go. And I'll be treated well. The brand is bad. Go or stay. Shut up, please. All right, y'all. Gotta go to a break. We come back to talk this crazy case out of Georgia where a family is suing the doctor in the hospital for decapitating their newborn. A shocking and stunning story. We'll talk with the family's lawyer next. Also in the show, Montgomery Brawl. The white folks, the cops said they got warrants out for their arrest. They have turned themselves in. We'll show you their mug shots and show you more great videos and memes that black folks have been putting out fast and furious. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The United States is the most dangerous place for a woman to give birth among all industrialized nations on the planet. Think about that for a second. That's not all. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in this country during childbirth than white women.
These healthcare systems are inherently racist. There are a lot of white supremacist ideas and mythologies around black women, black women's bodies, even black people, that we experience painless, right?
Activist, organizer, and fearless freedom fighter Monifa Akinwole Bandele from Moms Rising joins us and tells us this shocking phenomenon, like so much else, is rooted in unadulterated racism. And that's just one of her fights. Monifa Bandele on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
Up next on The Frequency with me, Dee Barnes, the shooting of Megan Thee Stallion and the subsequent trial of Tory Lanez. Megan has been treated like the villain. The experience that Megan went through is something that all black women face when we are affected by violence. This is something that's called misogynoir.
There's a long history of characterizing black women as inherently bad in order to justify our place in the society.
Next on The Frequency with me, Dee Barnes.
On the next A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking all things mental health and how helping others can help you. We all have moments where we have struggles, and on this week's show, our guests demonstrate how helping others can also help you. Why you should never stop giving and serving others on a next A Balanced Life here on Black Star Network.
Hi, I am Tommy Davidson. I play Oscar on Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. I don't play Sammy, but I could. Or I don't play Obama, but I could. I don't do Stallone, but I could do all that. And I am here with Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
A young Georgia couple says the doctor delivering their baby used too much force and decapitated the newborn. The baby's mother and father, Jessica Ross and Trevion Isaiah Taylor Sr., were surrounded by their attorneys on Wednesday when they announced their lawsuit against Dr. Tracy St. Julian and the Southern Regional Medical Center in Riverdale, Georgia, where Ross went on July 9th to have her son. The parents discovered what happened to their son when the funeral home told them their baby was decapitated. Joining me now from Atlanta is the attorney representing the couple, Dr. Roderick Edmond. Dr. Edmond, glad to have you on the show. So, okay, what in the world happened? What do they say happened when the child was born?
Roland, we get all of our information primarily from the medical records, but also from
just what it is that the parents and their relatives say happened. I'm just going to say the obvious. This is a bizarre case. It's one of the most horrific situations I've ever seen. I practiced medicine for 12 years. I never saw anything like this, and I've been suing doctors and hospitals for about 20, same thing. This is a very, very unique, bizarre situation. And in answer to your question, I mean, this young lady, she's 20 years old. It's her first pregnancy, never been pregnant before. And, she basically had an uneventful prenatal course, but her water broke on the 9th of July. She shows up appropriately at the labor and delivery department there at the hospital. And they put her on an IV, Pitocin, that medicine that causes your contractions to kind of speed up. And she has a normal labor process, 10 hours. And then she's fully effaced. She's ready to start pushing at about 8:40 in the evening. She starts pushing. After a couple of hours of pushing, she poops out. She gets tired, and the reason that she gets tired is because she has something called a shoulder dystocia. It's a fancy word for saying that the baby's coming down and the shoulders get stuck on the bone coming through the pelvic canal, coming through the pelvic girdle. And doctors are trained. They're supposed to know how to deal with a situation like that. And, the reality is that, this doctor, the nurses there at the hospital did not appropriately deal with it. They just didn't. The end result, though, was that too much traction was used in trying to pull this baby's head out of the canal, such that it broke bones in the skull, broke bones in the face, and broke bones in the neck. Everything indicates, and again, we're going to get more information as we go through discovery and litigation, but everything suggests that before they call for the cesarean section, that's when they go in and cut the baby out from the abdomen. This baby probably had died already. All right, but the bottom line is that when they went back to the cesarean section, the woman, when I say woman, the doctor took the scalpel, opened the belly, opened the womb. The feet came out, the body came out, but the head did not. The head was still in the vaginal canal, and the baby had been decapitated. And that's what happened. And
So is the hospital disputing this? Go to my iPad. This is the doctor that y'all are also suing, Dr. Tracy St. Julian, 26 years of experience, graduated from the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston in 1996. Was there at obstetrics and gynecology specialist there in Riverdale. I mean, this is just unbelievable when you just hear the details of what they're alleging.
Right, it is shocking, and I was looking at the commercials that you all showed before you started this section, and it may just be by accident, but somebody was talking about the increased incidence of deaths and injury to mothers and babies, Black mothers and babies. That is pandemic.
That's an issue that we've been covering extensively over the past year.
Yeah, well, I mean, here we have a situation. You have a young Black mother who basically had a horrible outcome. There was a 2021 Blue Cross Blue Shield study, and they did a very, very scientifically based analysis, and they came to the conclusion that Black women have a 63% greater risk of having injury to themselves and to the baby, and death to themselves and to the baby. I think Hispanics just have a couple of points less than that, but it's much higher than white people, 63% higher risk than white people. And then double down on that risk goes even higher once you start looking at a very, very younger demographic, women or girls between the ages of 15 and 23. That number is even higher. And so, I know a lot of people are sitting back saying, okay, the obstetrician was Black. This isn't about racism. You know what? I want people to just back off. This isn't about pointing fingers and saying people are doing things intentionally because folks are Black. I just want everybody to back up off of it. How many times have you gone into a restaurant and you're Black, the waiter's Black, and you see that they treat you different than the white clients? I mean, that's the kind of systemic racism that we're talking about. It's just not endemic to white people or whatever. I mean, I think our whole nation has been dumbed down. They've been somehow herded kind of subconsciously, like a ring on the nose, toward treating people who are Black, treating people who are poor treating people who basically just don't look like they have that sheen and shine and polish differently. And I would be shocked if, in fact, I'll say this. I really believe in my heart of hearts, if this was a 35-year-old woman who came in buttoned down in a business suit, then her baby would be alive.
Question from my panel. Nola, you first.
Oh my goodness, I'm just so struck by the last thing that you just said, and thinking about how Black folks can absolutely be anti-Black. And I think that's an important part of the story, along with the immense amount of trauma that the mother and father are going through. But it seems to me you're going to have to talk about this quite a bit, and I'm so happy that you, towards the end there, you brought it up. Because what tends to happen is that if you get one case study that gives you some sort of thing to talk about and wrap your ideas around, everything else can be dismissed. And because the doctor is Black, then you then dismiss all the other kind of serious claims around Black women giving birth. So my question is to you, I can tell that part of your strategy is just to bring it out there and just to kind of like talk about it. But what about giving people ammunition to be dismissive of the overall problem? Have you thought any detail about that and how to go about that communications wise?
And I apologize. Maybe I didn't understand your question. If you could, you say giving people ammunition to go about. I don't understand that. Just say what.
Being dismissive of Black women across the country who are suffering from many different situations when they go to give birth. So what I'm saying is sometimes when one thing happens, then the conversation can switch and people can dismiss the largeness of a thing. Have you thought through how you would maybe address that if that comes up?
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. And I understand your question. And this is kind of part of just the whole miscommunication going on in America. If you think about all the political debate that's going on, if things aren't just done perfectly, then that gives an in for I'll say for the negative side to latch on to something that's completely irrelevant, and it's a deflection. And I hear what you're saying. In this particular case, this is very linear right here, okay? This young lady was there. The simple question is this, okay? She had a shoulder dystocia. They happen. They're unpredictable. Everybody agrees with that. But there are certain things that every physician knows needs to happen. There are maneuvers that need to be done. All of the nurses there are protocols in the hospital that are trained basically to call for a stat C-section sooner than later. You're supposed to call an on-site physician. They had a hospitalist, an OBGYN doctor that was just right up the hall who could have come in and basically laid a fresh eyes on the situation, and there would have been a completely different outcome. There were so many things that could have been done that could have had a much, much better result. And in answer to your question, you just have to basically tell the truth, stay linear, don't get deflected, don't go down the rabbit hole. You're going to have people coming in talking about things that have nothing to do with the price of tea in China with this young lady. The reality is there was so much trauma put on the baby's head that it broke bones. That is negligence per se, period. All right? Now, everybody's talking about just what happened with the decapitation. This baby was decapitated. But I can tell you this. Again, having practiced medicine, sometimes doctors have horrible days. Doesn't mean they're bad people. It means they have horrible days. Some of the negligence that I've seen from good doctors, you just ask them, and they'll tell you, I don't know what the hell I was thinking that day. But what's really, really sinister about this case, you all, is that after the baby was decapitated and the girl was sewn up, they finished her surgery at 3 o'clock in the morning. This doctor came into her room 2 hours later and essentially withheld information, did not tell this young lady, that her baby had been decapitated. She told them that your baby died from injuries to his neck, completely purposefully withheld the fact that this baby had been decapitated, reasonably knowing that once they found out the details and the reality of what happened, then they would be that much more emotionally traumatized. And so there was a cover-up that happened in terms of the dissemination of information. I want to double down on that. The same day after the baby died, you had people who were there working in the hospital. They lied to this young couple. This girl was 20 years old. Her boyfriend's 21. They told them that, hey, you all's baby's death, those circumstances do not warrant there being a reflexive, free autopsy that's to be done by the medical examiner in the county. And that's just an abject lie. Those circumstances of the death are exactly why they do reflexive autopsies. And they tried to encourage this couple to cremate their baby in an attempt to destroy evidence. So they're trying to obstruct the development of evidence, and then also they were trying to destroy evidence. And this is the crazy part. A couple of hours after her baby was dead, this young lady tearfully, sorrowfully said, "I want to see my baby." Like just about all women do when they have a baby that dies. They usually open up the blanket, they look there and make sure all the fingers are there and everything. And you know what the people at the hospital told her? They told her, "You can't see your baby." She insisted, she persisted. And once she persisted, they said, "Well, okay, you can see your baby, but you cannot hold your son." And so what they did is that they wrapped the baby up tightly in a swaddling blanket. They propped the baby's head up on the body and laid it in a bassinet, and she was able to look at her baby through a glass window, thinking that her baby was intact. And that happened. So we have an extra element that's sinister in this claim that deals with fraud, misrepresentation, and how in the hell are you going to basically treat human beings like this? This is the sauce to this case. It's just not the death and the decapitation. It goes further in terms of sinister cover-up, fraud, misrepresentation, and treating people like they're less than. And I'll say this again. They damn sure wouldn't have treated those young people like that if they weren't young and black.
See?
Yeah, my heart goes out to your clients. This is horrific. It's, I think, every woman who's gone through pregnancy is their worst nightmare. And I mean, you kind of went into a lot of detail about what I was interested in hearing about was the cover up. And people don't cover up innocence; they cover up guilt. And so my question is: have there been any kind of disciplinary actions filed against this doctor or against this clinic? I understand that there's a lawsuit, but have there been any efforts to really kind of hold her accountable and prevent her from continuing to continue to provide services to pregnant women under these circumstances? How is that working for her?
Yeah, first of all, I don't know any details, but I'm 100% positive that there's going to be an investigation from the Composite State Medical Board in Georgia. I'm sure that there's an investigation going on, maybe a criminal investigation going on by the state in some capacity. But all of this is going to come out in the wash really probably within the next couple of days, few weeks. But there are investigations that are firing up on every angle.
Greg.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Dr. Edmond. I think you really kind of struck the one of the underlying issues here, given the fact that, I certainly don't know anything about Dr. St. Julian, and as you say, doctors can have bad days. The class issue involved. Anything on Southern Regional Medical Center, I've heard from some friends in the medical profession, it doesn't have the best reputation as a center. It's gone through several owners. As a physician and as a lawyer, institutionally, how can things like this happen? And I was the one that indeed had talked to Monifa Bandele for Moms Rising about these issues. What role might class play in terms of the kind of services poor people get and poor Black people get, and anything about Southern Regional Medical Center and how that might be a factor in terms of the kind of services they provide to folks?
You know what? I don't know enough really to talk specifically about Southern Regional Medical Center in terms of their persistent quality or lack thereof. The fact that they've had multiple owners, in my mind, that doesn't suggest that there's any lack of quality. I mean, this is a tough time financially, economically for hospitals. But I will address your question in that it just seems. And it's reflected in those numbers. It seems that categorically across this nation that poor people, I said, poor white folks statistics are probably just like black folks. Poor people, poor people, black people, Hispanics, people who just categorically in our system are looked at as less than, they systemically get less care or poor quality care. And that's just, that's what the data shows. And again, you have people coming from all institutions trying to figure out why. And so that's the big question. And you know what? I think as long as we shine a light on it like we're doing right now, we're going to figure it out. All right.
All right, then.
Hey Roland, before we get going, I just want you to know that I pledged a guy named A. Scott Bolden down in Morehouse. And he called me today and he told me to tell you that what do you call 5 alphas and 1 kappa? And
easy, five much smarter men.
He said 5 alphas and 1 kappa. He says that's called a fair fight. All right. So.
Well, first of all, anybody who chooses to pledge a youth group that's a fraternal imposter knows better that that's not the truth. See, it was smart for you, Doc, just to keep moving. See, you shouldn't have even started any of that because trust me, it don't end well for y'all. So
but guess what? But then after that, he said, "Tell the brother I love him."
Yeah. That's called don't make it. Hey, Henry, give me a shot. Doc, keep it up. You gonna meet that right there.
I hear you. Look up, y'all. All of y'all. Keep on doing.
You're gonna meet that chair right there. All right. Doc, all right. We appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right.
Folks, I'm gonna go to a quick break. We come back, we're gonna talk to a doctor who can explain what actually happens in the medical room and how this possibly could have happened. Man, sad story. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind $100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Question for you. Are you stuck? Do you feel like you're hitting a wall and it's keeping you from achieving prosperity? Well, you're not alone. On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, you're going to learn what you need to do to become unstuck and unstoppable. The fabulous author Janine K. Brown will be with us sharing with you exactly what you need to do to finally achieve the level of financial success you desire through your career.
Because when I talk about being bold in the workplaces, I'm talking about that inner boldness that you have to take a risk, to go after what you want, to speak up when others are not.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Jo Marie Payton, voice of Sugar Mama on Disney's Louder and Prouder Disney Plus, and I'm with Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
All right, folks, we are now talking with a doctor of New Orleans, Dr. Joy Creer-Perry. She's president of the National Birth Equity Collaborative. Doc, glad to have you here. When you saw this story, when we hear these other stories, we've talked about the fundamental problem that black women are facing in birth. It is shocking and stunning. Obviously, these details are beyond the pale. But again, it goes to show what continues to be a persistent problem with black maternal health in this country.
Yes, thank you so much, Roland. I have to say, I'm honored that you're even talking about this because
we act as if we've cured this problem. We know the United States is the only high-income nation where people are dying within a year of childbirth at higher rates than they were dying last year. And Black women specifically are dying at sometimes 8 to 12 times more likely to die than their white counterparts who have the same education. So with my fancy MD and my education from an Ivy League institution, none of that protects me from dying. So we are ignoring that problem, that racism is the reason that we're dying in this country, not because we choose to go to the doctor later or because we don't eat the right foods. We're really being treated differently, like Serena or like the most recent case, because Tori Bowie, right? We are treated differently because of the color of our skin. And that's just a reality.
Even though in this particular case here, the doctor they allege did this was Black, it just simply speaks to, again, the problem. I mean, my goodness, you're carrying this child to term and you think you're about to celebrate the birth of a child and now you're playing a funeral.
You know, and the thing is, I honestly don't know, Dr. St. Julian. I spent a decade on the board of the National Medical Association. In fact, I met you at one of those conferences years ago. What I do know is I've been her. I've been a Black doctor, a Black woman, trying to get people to listen to me, to hear me, right? I've been a person saying, here's my patient who we're having this moment. She's having complications. And I know that the data shows that we're supposed to apologize. We're supposed to show empathy. What I do also know is what the system does is hide and lie and show shame. So then even though you know better as the Black woman who's a physician, you get thrown in and thrown under the bus the same way that the patient is. So I want this patient to get justice. I want her to understand what happened to her, but I also don't want the physician to be thrown under the bus as if she has all power, right? When you are a Black woman working inside of a system, you have the same, you're also trying to fight to save your patient's life. We know that there's data that shows that when there are Black physicians, that we have better outcomes because we're the ones usually fighting for this, but we don't always win. We're also just in the same structures that we're fighting against racism, fighting against anesthesia, a hospital administration, lawyers who are saying, don't talk about it. And meanwhile, we are also being harmed. So I have empathy for both people. I really believe, though, that the mother surely should get, and that father should get answers and should get the truth. But we should not just demonize this physician as if she can control an entire hospital system. The system is racist. The structure is racist. The structure ignores and does not apologize for the harm that it causes. That's what we have to change.
I got quick questions with each one of our panelists. Greg, you first.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Dr. Career, because that's exactly what I was attempting to ask Dr. Edmond. You know, when you are faced with a situation like that, what options do physicians have, particularly Black physicians and Black women physicians taking care of Black women giving birth? How can you fight back against the system in real time? And could you walk us through some of the specifics of a situation like that? Is the OR completely staffed? I mean, does she have the option? I mean, could you help us understand some of that as lay people?
Sure, for sure. I mean, I've been in there. And so, like I said, this is not me. I was not there. So I just want you to hear that I have not practiced this myself in 10 years. I work on policy now. But what would normally happen is a patient is having a complication and you are calling for anesthesia. You're calling for the operating room. You're calling for someone to help you because the baby is stuck. It's a big baby and it's stuck. And you really need them to listen to you. And there's a world that people listen to whatever we say, but that world doesn't exist a lot of times for us, right? And so we are asking to go to the operating room. To get into the operating room, you need a nurse to push the patient. You need anesthesia to say, I'm going with you. Like you're commanding a ship is what they tell you as a physician. But that ship doesn't always listen to Black folks. And so I was not there in the room, but this has happened to me personally, that my desire for my patient has been ignored. And so just knowing that at that moment when things are happening real time, you could get snowballed and it can become really complicated very quickly for everybody in the room. And so I'm friends. I love for Cure for Moms and the work that he's doing around the loss of his, Charles Johnson loss of his wife. And I would tell him frequently, yes, that doctor who harmed your wife, who did not show up for that C-section, should be punished for his role. But he alone did not cause Kira to die. There's no possible way that he by himself did that. He showed up 12 hours later after her entire system failed her. So that's what we can't lose sight of for this patient.
Reese?
I'm just struggling because a baby was decapitated. So
Sure.
I'm trying to find like the sympathy where there's a lack of accountability and a cover up involved. So I that's all I got. I'm sorry. That's all I got.
Yeah. And truthfully, that's real, right? Like I have never had a full term. So when I first saw the story, I thought, oh, it was a preterm baby, or it was because that does happen. So I was looking for data to show that when we sometimes, I mean, I have a child that was born that only weighed a pound. And he's still alive. He's 26 years old and he eats too much food and talks noise to me. But at the time, he was the smallest living fetus. So there are people who, in delivering that small little a baby that weighs less than a pound, you do sometimes decapitate, right? And it sounds like unbelievable, but that is honestly pretty common. When I first saw the story, I thought, oh, it's a preemie, and they're demonizing the physician. But as I dug into it further, what I realized is that truthfully, it can happen just like it can happen at any stage, right? And like I'm saying, I don't know her. They're not friends. This is not me I'm also just offering that she alone did not cause the baby to be decapitated. That operating room had to have at least 10 people in it. And she was causing different things to happen because that's what happens all the time. And I mean, I will tell you this, my one maternal death, her name is Ashley. And I tried very hard to keep her from dying. And I, as an alone physician, could not control the ICU, the physicians, the ER, and all the things that happened to her. So I still pray for my own spirit and my own soul for the fact that she's no longer with us.
Nola.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for spending time with us this evening and talking about a very difficult topic. I have more of a policy question for you. Long time ago, when I was an undergrad, I feel like the theoretical idea of cultural competency was everywhere, and then they tried to turn it into policy, right? And clearly it hasn't worked because you're still talking about systemic problems. So what are some of the policy suggestions that you've thought through, things that could help do something about addressing the systemic problems within the system? Because clearly the one big thing that they put tons of energy into did not work.
I totally agree. In fact, I do those. So my organization, the National Birth Equity Collaborative, we do what we call respectful maternity care. We do training. And we recognize about a third of the people when we do those trainings, and we don't use the term cultural competency because I can't be competent on another person's humanity. I can be humble. So there are two physicians who are Black physicians, actually, out of California, who created a term called cultural humility. And there's an entire curriculum that we use around humility, like learning, like this is lifelong learning. I will never be competent around how someone is Jewish, just like Jewish people will never be competent around Blackness, right? This is not some test you check off and say, I've now learned everything there is to know about being a Black person or being an Asian person. And so now I could go in and take care of this patient. It's walking to that space humbly. Cultural humility is an entire framework. So inside of respectful maternity care, we work on what's called cultural humility, and we have a cycle to respectful maternity care. And the first step is working on your own self. And there's a bill at the federal level called the Omnibus that we've taught for 3 years. Lauren Underwood, who's an amazing congresswoman, and Alman Adams, another amazing nurse, were the co-leads, and Cory Booker. And in fact, Vice President Kamala Harris, before she became the vice president, when she was the senator, was the lead for this bill. And it is a very comprehensive, it's 12 different bills at this point, and we keep expanding it. We can't get it passed because they keep saying the bishops don't want it because it's about abortion. And this, if nothing else, shows you that this is not about abortion, that any person who's a descendant of the enslaved, whether you have a uterus or not, should not want a state government to tell us what to do is important. And this is this young woman and this baby dying are a great example of, until we have competent care, until we invest in the entire team, understanding that they have to follow the directions of a physician, even if it's a Black woman, we're going to keep seeing outcomes like this. So I'm hoping that your listeners on this show will really support us in trying to get the Omnibus passed, because although it's not perfect and although nothing is a silver bullet, it is the most comprehensive bill that we know of to ensure that people, Black women specifically, are seen in the future and are valued, and Black mamas are valued.
All right, Doc, we surely appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you, love. Appreciate you.
Folks, here's a statement from the hospital. Our heartfelt thoughts and prayers are with the family and all those impacted by this tragic event. Prayers also remain with the dedicated team of physicians, nurses, and staff at Southern Regional Medical Center who cared for this patient. While our sympathies go out to the family, Southern Regional Medical Center denies the allegations in the complaint referencing the hospital. Since this matter is in litigation, we cannot provide additional statements. As far as Dr. St. Julian, she is not an employee of the hospital. The hospital has taken the appropriate steps in response to this unfortunate situation, did not detail what those steps are. All right, folks, when we come back, Montgomery, 3 of the people who had outstanding warrants, they are now in custody. In addition, we got more videos and memes, Lord. Y'all have been busy. And it's some good ones, too. And yes, we're going to go to break with our ode to those in Montgomery with our chair in the Black Star Network studio. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Up next on The Frequency with me, Dee Barnes, the shooting of Megan Thee Stallion and the subsequent trial of Tory Lanez. Megan has been treated like the villain. The experience that Megan went through is something that all Black women face when we are affected by violence. This is something that's called misogynoir.
There's a long history of characterizing Black women as inherently bad in order to justify our place in this society.
Next on The Frequency with me, Dee Barnes.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Cole. The United States is the most dangerous place for a woman to give birth among all industrialized nations on the planet. Think about that for a second. That's not all. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in this country during childbirth than white women.
These healthcare systems are inherently racist. There are a lot of white supremacist ideas and mythologies around Black women's bodies, even Black people, that we experience painless, right?
Activist, organizer, and fearless freedom fighter Monifa Akinwole Bandele from Moms Rising joins us and tells us this shocking phenomenon, like so much else, is rooted in unadulterated racism. And that's just one of her fights. Monifa Bandele on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
On the next A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking all things mental health and how helping others can help you. We all have moments where we have struggles, and on this week's show, our guests demonstrate how helping others can also help you. Why you should never stop giving and serving others on the next A Balanced Life here on Black Star Network.
I'm Faraji Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, my name is Freddie Ricks. I'm from Houston, Texas.
My name is Sharon Williams. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
All right, folks, 3 folks have been jailed in the Montgomery brawl. First and foremost, right here, Richard Roberts faces 2 counts of 3rd-degree assault. He has been arrested and jailed. We also have 2 other individuals, Zachary Shipman, Zachary Chase Shipman, he is 25, held in the Montgomery Municipal Jail on 1 count of misdemeanor 3rd-degree assault charges in connection with the Saturday brawl. Also, Alan Todd, 23 years old, he also has been arrested. Again, Richard Roberts turned himself in on Tuesday. Police are still seeking Reggie Gray, the 42-year-old black man who was wielding the chair. They are also, you also have, there was a woman who also was arrested. I don't know if we actually have that. I'm looking right here. Give me 1 second. I saw it just right here. Here we go. Woman in connection. Go to my iPad, please. This is the mugshot of Mary Todd. She's 21 years old. She is the fourth suspect who has been charged in connection with the brawl. She turned herself in today. She faces misdemeanor third-degree assault charges. She's also being held at the Montgomery Municipal Jail. All right, folks. There has been some of the other story updates. This is from AL.com. Montgomery Riverboat crew says they were attacked by drunk people yelling N-word, according to records. A teen deckhand's mother wrote that she could hear men yelling F that nigger, and the men came down to fight my son. Now, another witness said this was not about race, but you have this particular witness who is saying this. People continue to respond in quite the interesting and humorous way to all of this. We have been looking at some of these videos. So in Copenhagen, they have Fashion Week, and guess what? The black chair made an appearance during Fashion Week. The sister is coming down. Do y'all have, pull up audio, guys, come on. The sister is sitting here wielding that chair as she's walking down the runway. I thought that was one heck of a video there. Also, we came across a few others that I found to be quite amusing. Let's see here. I'm gonna pull this one up for a second. Let's see here. Where can I find it? And I showed y'all. Now, Reese, this is interesting. They already have the Montgomery Brawl nails.
Hey, I'm really proud of y'all. Montgomery Brawl. Bitch. Not one, but them all. Montgomery Brawl. Oh, shout out bro that can swim. Montgomery Brawl. New shit, really all of them. Montgomery Brawl. Real. Shout out Unc with the chair. Montgomery Brawl. Everybody that was there. Montgomery Brawl. Threw the head off.
Come on, Nola, why you shaking your head?
Because there's so much I want to say that I can't say. That's why.
Racy?
But all I want to say is, do you see how we set global culture, though? Like, that chair is on the runway in Copenhagen. We set global culture. I just want to leave it there, but I want to say so much.
Reese, go ahead.
I have to say, that felt damn good seeing all them white people get their ass whipped for fucking with a black man who was doing his job. The Karen energy, the Brad energy just beat out of him. I won't even say sucked out of him, was beat out of him with fists, feet, chairs, and they had it coming. And you know what? Let this be a lesson, because people are so quick. I get tagged all day, every day, in every video of a black person getting their ass beat, a black person getting spit on, terrorized. We talked about it earlier in the show. We don't see enough of Team Whip That Ass out there. So I am 100% here for that energy. It felt cathartic for me. I've been in a good mood all week behind it. And I just think we need to do more of this. I'm not saying be violent, but I'm just saying, like, don't just take it on the chin. Don't turn the other cheek. Don't be the bigger person. Don't offer forgiveness and grace. Sometimes you need to match energy, and that's exactly what happened in Birmingham. And I just thank them because they have spawned 1,000,001 amazing memes. I've watched every single video. Black people are so creative. And now we got a new thing added to our lexicon, which is the chair. The chair is now, we got the black fist and we got the chair. So if anybody sees a chair, then you know what's about to go down. It's about to go down and everybody knows it. And it's ours for now.
Well,
until they start outlawing chairs.
And I'm glad you said that, folks. Y'all can go to Roland Martin Unfiltered right now and y'all can get this. No. All right, front of the shirt, hashtag Team Whip That Ass. On the back is Bring the Funk on the back of it as well. So if y'all want to get y'all chair Team Whip That Ass shirt, Roland Martin Unfiltered, then y'all can do so. It is available now on our, of course, product page. We've got other products where you can buy other shirts, things along those lines. But yeah, right there, this is the front of the church. This is the front of the shirt right there. It says, because y'all know I've been using the hashtag Team Whip That Ass for a long time. It started when me and Teray had a battle on Twitter when he felt I was wrong for believing in corporal punishment. I was like, no, Team Whip That Ass. I'm a firm believer in that. So, yeah, so you can get your official Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Star Network chair Team Whip That Ass shirt. Again, that's the front of the shirt right there. This is the back, hashtag Bring the Funk, because y'all know that's what we do. All right, we got some other videos. Roll it.
This song goes out to all the soldiers on the battlefield in Montgomery. Here we go. If you go to Montgomery, you gon' mess around and find out. If you go to Montgomery, you gon' mess around and find out. Down by the riverboat, you go to Montgomery, you gon' mess around and find out. All you gotta do is hop off the riverboat, because Montgomery want all the smoke. Oh, you walk over, limp back. You walked over, limp back. Grab that chair, that's right over there. Look at that man, my God, he's swimming fast. Take off your shoes, you know what to do. We finna fight, been doing it all our life. They thought they had us chained, but God said not today. Best for Dr. King, because he wouldn't swing. Best is for Obama, yeah, we should've won. Django coming back, and Jamie did too. Attacked us by the river, the ancestors came through. Oh, they walked over, but then back. And that's a fact, on period, on everything.
Oh, there's gonna be a new line dance, Greg. We gonna make a line dance.
Absolutely. You know, it's very interesting. We've been here for about a week and a half so far. Right now, I'm sitting in that Swan, and where we're staying requires a boat, a ferry. And, you know, dozens of times a day, ferries go back and forth between Elephantine Island and the mainland here in Aswan, and they're run by Nubians. So when men who look just like us, you keep your mouth shut, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between one of us and Nubians here. And, of course, you can imagine with that kind of traffic on the shoreline, there are going to be moments when the boats bump into each other. They got the tires on the sides, and it's all very calm, all very peaceful. These brothers all know each other, and they've been working, some of them, for decades at this trade. As we were having the conversation, the Africans from the United States, to the tune of about 220 is what we took over here this time. This has been one of the very few stories from the United States of America that we've been talking about. It's very refreshing to be outside of a criminal enterprise where race is the framework through which we live our lives, and to be among people for whom this is not an issue. Why am I drawing this? This kind of energy is two things come to mind. Number one, as I said earlier, the only thing that is really different between what we're seeing with this and what has happened before in Alabama, Mississippi, and everywhere else is that it was caught on tape. Hell, half of the Great Migration happened because black people whipped that ass. The Negroes in Detroit are there because they came from Alabama, because more often than not, when a white man decided to nuck if you buck, the black person took them out, and that's why they had to leave Alabama in the middle of the night to go to Detroit. Same thing for people from Louisiana and Texas and Las Vegas, people in L.A. coming from places like Arkansas and other places, people from Buffalo, New York, or Chicago, from Mississippi, and from the Carolinas and to Philadelphia. I say all that to say that this is not new. So that's the first thing. We should be careful to say we finally had enough. We had enough when the first hands were put on us, and the first hands were black. The second thing I think is very much more important in some ways, and that's this. What this is doing, I agree with Reese, it's a global phenomenon. What this is doing is serving notice that this type of response to white terror and white violence is now being energized by a new generation. The United States of America doesn't have enough police. doesn't have enough deputy police in terms of white people to really to any way neutralize the combined anger and pent-up emotion of Black people. Making these videos, all this kind of thing, particularly of something that, quite frankly, it might be an act of assault, is an open declaration that we don't give a damn about the law. We don't give a damn about any potential punishment. If you come over here, we're going to dance with you, and we might take your legs off. Think about that for a minute. Think about that. An act where somebody hits somebody with a chair is not only being declared basically self-defense without any court of law having any weighing in, it is being celebrated in a way that is, in fact, energizing, is catalyzing the type of response that you're almost saying now, you know what? It's okay. That signal could have profound implications as we enter this new election cycle and folks want to make country music songs and scream all kind of things. This could get a whole lot more violent before it gets better.
Don't swing on folks, because you might get swung on back. Roll the next video.
Nothing, just getting ready for work, that's all. Somebody pray for me. Somebody pray for me. Somebody pray for me.
Man, when the black cops start pulling the chairs out, you know something's up. Roll next video.
My brothers and sisters take arm in the Battle of Montgomery. I knew that I had to be prepared myself. Pulling out old Betsy, I practiced my chair jutsu. I haven't used this skill in years, as the last time I used it, I sent 4 people to the hospital with concussions. Their brains turned to jelly. It's a daily skill passed down from hood master to hood master. Baby daddy to baby daddy. It's a powerful skill. When thrown, the chair can cause riots and get the most sane person into a frenzy. But it's necessary. And I will be ready.
White people, here's some advice for the rest of the summer. Stay out of the water. Between the Titanic claiming fresh victims in 2023, orcas taking down yachts, and the Alabama sweet tea party, white people are having a tough time of it in the water these days. And I know a lot of people are not going to like this advice, because there is no one on this planet more entitled than a white guy in a boat. And we saw that entitlement, that privilege with those guys on the Titan submersible. We also saw it with these fucking idiots in Alabama who refused to move their boat for a ferry full of people even after a security guard asked them to. Then they decided to jump the security guard. And I'm sure these guys are all about law and order, right? Well, little did they know that the entire black population of Alabama had that security guard's back. Black people of all ages, all genders, were unified as one. Black people were swimming. I mean, they were breaking all types of stereotypes just to kick these guys' fucking asses. And it was beautiful. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm white. Very, very white. And I loved it. And I'm sure I'll have racists all up in my comments calling me a race traitor, saying I should just rub my white skin off like they did when I said that slavery was actually bad. But I don't give a fuck. See, normal white people, we don't really have racial solidarity. We might have like ethnic solidarity. You know, we like identify with other, you know, Irish or Italian or Germans or whatever, but we know that racial solidarity with white people gets very ugly very fast. So when white people do some racist, idiotic shit and get their comeuppance, we love it. So I guess my advice isn't really stay out of the water. I guess my advice is don't be an entitled racist idiot. I got nothing for those orcas, though.
All right, Rita Brent is a comedian, and she has been killing it. Oh, my God, y'all. She put this prayer out, and I had to play it.
Nat Turner Jesus. Lord, we come to you today feeling glorious and victorious after pulling off an unlikely feat around 7 p.m. in Montgomery, Alabama. Lord, we were rolling on the river with some saltine crackers yesterday, Lord. But vengeance was ours, said the Negroes who came to help our dear brother Leotis, who was just trying to do his job and bring the Harriet II boat back to the dock. Now, Lord, I don't know if that main name is Leotis, but it's going to be for the purpose of this prayer, because that was a very Leotis-like fight. Lord, we just want to thank you for sending down your Bout Them Life angels from Them Hands University. Not only did you send a ram out the bush, you sent about 50 rams, Lord, to help our dear brother Leotis, who was getting attacked by an angry, privileged mob of white, pale, mayonnaise-filled thugs. Lord, I ain't gonna lie. We knew Leotis was about that life when he threw that hat in the air. I knew right then it wasn't going to be a fair fight, Lord. And lo and behold, victory was ours yesterday. We told them white Satans to get thee behind, because victory was ours yesterday. And let this be a reminder to all the spectators who thinking about coming at us the wrong way. Don't come for us lest we sin for you. And newsflash, we can swim too. I know y'all saw Aquafina Man swim 159 feet to get to that dock to do his thing. They messed around and found out yesterday, Lord. And I thank you for dropping this victory song in my spirit. We pray all these things in Nat Turner Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Amen.
I saw you mouth, wow.
Yeah, look, let's be very clear. When you pray to Nat Turner Jesus, the fun and games are over. It's all fun and games. These memes are great. Videos are great. First of all, let me just deal with the white dude. If you want to, tag along and try to distance yourself from white supremacy, then have that same energy for them trying to stop a second black congressional district in Alabama. In fact, have that same energy for the way that people are incarcerated in Alabama. Have that same energy for black athletes still going to Auburn when a racist like Tommy Tuberville is in the United States Senate. I mean, it's all fun and games. We start talking about a fight on the waterfront. It's all cool, but they haven't dealt with the white boy. When you pray to Nat Turner Jesus, it's more than just about a chair hitting somebody in a brawl on the side of a ferry on the waterfront. Now you're talking about a real fight. Remember what Charlie Cobb writes in his book, that nonviolent stuff will get you killed, or what Akinyele Umoja writes in his book, We Will Shoot Back. If folks had been armed, this might have turned out very differently. And make no mistake about it, folks got guns all over this country. Let's be very clear about this. Today it was a chair. Tomorrow it could be a pistol. And we have to be in fact, it will be a pistol. This is, it's funny for sure, but what's being articulated is the fact that black people will fight back. Now, the question is, what we going to parlay this into? Otherwise, it will just be about fashion shows and wearing a chair and memes and everybody laugh and white people get a little piece of it too. And, at that point, it just becomes depressing.
About yesterday, that is, you can have this reaction, but there are real consequences to what's happening politically. Folks have to also have the same reaction. Nola?
Oh man, I knew you were going to call on me. So a lot of
you're on the panel.
I know. I've been very careful about this topic. But you know what? A lot of what Greg said, I absolutely agree with. It is fun and it builds community, because I was legit thinking like, wow, what's going to be funnier than that elephant? Like I literally was thinking that, like what's going to top the elephant? And this is definitely top the elephant, but it has a lot of implications because in as much as it may seem inconsequential that a woman in Copenhagen was walking with a chair, let's think about the impact going way, before George Floyd and with that global kind of movement sparked around the world. But, once televisions came into play and people started to see the type of brutality that was happening in the South during civil rights, that's when the conversation began to shift, right? So we know that we've had this ability to make moments like this part of almost like global responses and reactions. And so it's very interesting to watch because there is also this idea. I've had conversations with Black people around the world about this, and I get really heated. There's this idea that Black Americans are, not just Black Americans, I would say, but anyone that is descendant of an enslaved African, that there's this idea that somehow your ancestor decided to get captured. There's this kind of conflict and war idea that, the lesser of people are the ones to get captured and enslaved, right? That goes all the way to the Bible, Aristotle, we can talk about it. But something as normal as a day on the harbor literally sparked and shifted the conversation. And that's why, to me, seeing that girl on the runway with a chair, I'm thinking about the impact of that and the moment that this really is about. This shifted culture in multiple ways. One saying, you know what, no, black folks here, we're not docile. We don't just have big mouths and don't do anything to back it up. This shifted the culture, this shifted the conversation that goes all the way back. From our existence here and then, among the diaspora. So my brain is thinking about all of these different things on top of the security implications. Because like I said in the beginning, this could be some sort of, what am I trying to say? Like the first salvo, right? So
well,
this
again,
is,
no, but it as everything is always a matter of the follow-up. That's what it boils down to. Again, moments turns into movements, or they can simply just be moments. I got Earthquake coming up next, but I gotta play this one last one from Rita Brent to take us to the break. I got no choice. So, Reese, this one's for you.
This song goes out to all the soldiers on the battlefield in Montgomery. Here we go. If you go to Montgomery, you gon' mess around and find out. If you go to Montgomery, you gon' mess around and find out. Down by the riverboat, you go to Montgomery, you gon' mess around and find out. All you gotta do is hop off the riverboat. Because Montgomery want all the smoke. Oh, you walk over, limp back. You walked over, limp back. Grab that chair, it's right over there. Look at that man, my God, he's swimming fast. Take off your shoes, you know what to do. We finna fight, been doing it all our life. They thought they had us chained, but God said not today. Best for Dr. King, because he wouldn't swing. Best is for Obama, Hillary should've won. Django coming back, and Jamie did too. Attacked us by the river, the ancestors came through. Oh, they walked over, limp back. And that's a fact. On period, on everything, on my mama, that's around and find out.
That's gonna be somebody, that's gonna be at a church on Sunday. Reese, take us out to the break. Your final comment.
Look, I just gotta say, I'm glad that Dr. Carr and Dr. Nola laid it out. We've seen over the past year and some change, a backlash to the so-called racial reckoning of George Floyd. Well, guess what? There's a backlash to the backlash. Because if y'all thought we were just going to take the backlash, laying down all the shit that y'all doing across the country, overreaching, trying to strip us of our citizenship, it ain't happening, Captain. So it might just be the opening salvo. And don't say you weren't warned that we ain't taking this shit no more. Ain't no, we're not our ancestors. We're not the people we were, or we have been for the past 18 months. Letting motherfuckers like Ron DeSantis, Greg Abbott, and a lot of them slide with a lot of this shit that they've been pulling over on Black people without getting an answer. Well, Montgomery was your answer, boo. Stay tuned for more.
Y'all, I can't wait to hear my next guest, Earthquake, got to say about the Montgomery Brawl. You know, every comedian in the country gonna work into their routine. He's next right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shots.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
I'm Faraji Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Latasha from the A.
And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, y'all. He is celebrating 30 years in comedy. Earthquake has been in the game for quite some time. I see y'all. I see the call. He's been in the game for quite some time. Celebrated birthday this year. Again, 30 years in the game. He is on a national tour. He's always texting me, say, man, when am I coming on? When am I coming on? And I'm like, answer your damn phone, we'll have you on. And so he's somewhere in America, walking, getting in his car. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He can't sit his ass down and be stationary. I don't know why, you know. So, Earthquake, can you hear, brother?
I can hear you, Roland. I can hear you.
Man, sit your ass down in one place.
Listen, man, I'm tired of being so disinfecting me like this, brother.
I mean, I'm sitting there like I'm about to go to you. Your damn call dropped. We got to call you back. I mean, come on. Get this. What's up with that cricket phone plan you got?
Man, I don't have cricket. I got AT&T, Roland. What's happening with you, man?
Well, AT&T ain't never spent no money on our show, so Verizon has. So,
well, I get cricket now that they down with Roland. Whoever down with Roland, I'm down with them.
That's how we do it. So I got to ask you, I know every comedian, when they saw the brawl, they were like, oh, that's a routine right there.
Well, you know, when I sit there, I just seen your previous guest from the first segment there. I didn't know it was so much civil rights in it. I just took it as some white people getting their ass whooped. But I didn't know the historic moment of it. You know what I mean? But it made me go out and buy a lot of chairs for all the black people because that's our new thing now. Give a chair. Everybody get a chair. But they don't understand, you know, we down south. When he threw his hat up, that was hooty hoo. That means every brother come from land, water, sea, air. Come help me out. Hooty hoo. And that's what happened. And that song they talking about, this won't happen in a small town. Hell yeah, you get your ass whooped in a small town.
Well, it's been, first of all, what I love, the creativity and the imagination of black people has been just on fire with the memes or the photos since Saturday.
Yeah, I see the dude just down the street just had a chair, a folding chair on the top of his car. Talking about, please, I'm looking for a Kern. Please give me a problem. Because I hit you with this damn chair. Boy, and that's another thing. Please, white people, I know you feel you have the right of way, but if you go into the brawl, believe me, you got to keep your head on a swivel or you will get hit with a chair.
Look, what still gets me, the two white women, one woman, she came down the walkway and she tried to like ease into the fight. Her ass ended up in the water.
Well, did you see the one white dude that wanted to help out us? He got hit one time. He said, "Black man, you on your goddamn own. I'm out of here." The little 17-year-old. They hit him in the nuts, and he said, "That did it."
Oh, it was, look, I mean, it was, first of all, again, it was sitting here crazy just watching it unfold. And then, of course, the white woman who was in a red dress, she decided to swing on the brother. The brother really didn't want to hit her, but the two sisters rolled up and said, "Yo, we got this. We got it."
You know, listen, man. They know you about the same age I am. When you see the Vaseline, it is on. They ain't even need Vaseline this time. It was right on them all of a sudden, and it was whooping down in the gump. So I'm going down there myself just to go sit on where they was fighting on in that little riverboat and just have me a piece of chicken and have a good time.
Well, it's only fitting the boat that was trying to dock was named Harriet.
Harriet Tubman, look at it. Something, and she set a lot of Negroes free, didn't she?
It's been 30 years for you in the game, Earthquake. Of course, you talk about it in your stand-up. You spent some time in the military, then you were like, "Hey, man, I'm out of here."
Yeah, well, I wanted to do 20 years, but the war broke out. I told them I don't mind practicing for war, but they wanted to fight for real. I told them I could stay at home to get shot at, so they can fight something. Plus, they was fighting over oil because that was a desert storm. I said, why would I be fighting for oil and I don't even have a car? You better send Shell over there, or Exxon. I'll soon have it. I don't care if gas went up to $200 a gallon. I steal it like I steal everything else I can't afford.
And so you get out of the military. So, but was there a moment? What was the starting point when you said, "Yeah, you know what, I can do this comedy thing"?
Hanging around Steve Harvey, sitting there, and seeing how these brothers was taking it serious, and it came to me so easily. See, I tell them I didn't have it was no epiphany for me. It was just the best decision that day, and the best decision hasn't came since that day. So it really wasn't no plan. I knew I couldn't go back to D.C. where I'm from, because getting out the military, that just would have put me into illegal pharmaceuticals. So I didn't want to go that way. So I went to Atlanta when it was the Mecca, when Atlanta was Atlanta. So I tried it out there, and that's how I worked it out.
If we talk about style, there are all kinds of different styles out here. There are different comedic styles. Some folk focus on family. Some people like to tell stories. Some talk about relationships. I would say yours is more of the aggressive type.
Yeah, I mean, I do it. I'm from Southeast DC. Everything in Southeast DC is aggressive. I like to, I don't like quietness. So I have to keep talking, keep them laughing. Some comedian can ride the quiet. I can't do it. It breaks me out like a rash. So I like to be funny. I like to be quick. I'm easy to be bored, so my jokes have to be quick and have to come abundance. If I really had to metaphorically say it, I'm like Aaron Pryor in the ring, but with jokes. Just keep punching till the fight is over or till I did 12 rounds.
I ask, before I go to my panel, I ask different artists this all the time. And it's not, the whole point is not, it's a competition or whatever. But you can call the verses if you want to. But if that was just this opportunity where you got this great crowd and they could put a mic in your hand on one side of the stage and a mic in the hand of somebody on the other side of the stage, who is that comedian that you would say brings the best out of you or brings your competitive spirit out where you be like, "Oh, yeah, oh, it's about to be on"?
Oh, it's a lot of them. Steve, because I started with him. Cat and when Bernie was alive, those type of good because they was at the highest level. I watch Jerry Seinfeld because he's so precise. Every word has something. So verses for comedians would be different because it's so subjective.
Right.
What's funny to you is not funny to somebody else. I tell comedians this: everybody is somebody out here that does not find you funny. All you want to do is pray that they all don't show up that night you working. So that's how it works. You know what I mean?
I would think, when I look at comedic styles, I think you and DC Curry would just be ignorant.
Yes. DC is one of my best friends and one of the most underrated comedians out. Has zero, he don't care about nothing. I mean, cut, he doesn't care. Shout out to DC Curry, man. I love him to death. One of my best friends. And that would be a great versus between me, him, and Uncle Elroy.
I'll ask this. I think some places, I would say, for me, when it comes to giving speeches, some places just receive you differently than other places. It's just a whole different vibe, a different energy. Is there a particular city, and no matter when you've gone there, they are just, they're different than some other places?
Your hometown, Houston. Oh, H-Town.
Really?
Yo, man, matter of fact, I'm going to be there in 2 weeks. H-Town just loves me to death. They resonate with everything I say. Nashville, Tennessee, to be quite honest with you. Atlanta, and I will have to say my hometown of Washington, D.C., the energy is just so great, and they're just pro-Quake fans. So I love them to death, Roland. It's just when I know I'm coming there, I know I'm going to have a great time. I'm not just working.
Let's see here. Who should I start with? I'm going to start with our resident expert cusser, Reese Colbert. I don't know if you know Earthquake, but Reese caught my attention because she was posting videos just cussing everybody out. I mean, Reese, I'm telling you right now, Earthquake, Reese used motherfucker so many times, Bernie Mac would say, damn, do she have to use it that often? That's how much. Huh?
Ain't nothing wrong with a woman that cuss. Go ahead, Reese. Use that language.
Well, Earthquake, you did get on my bad side a little bit because you did come for VP Kamala Harris once. But then I was bird box. I was bird box because I was like, you know what? I like Earthquake. I ain't gonna drag Earthquake because I'm a big fan. I've been a fan of yours since Kamala.
Man, hold on. What did Earthquake say?
He said something anti-Kamala. He said something on your Instagram. You said something, but I let it slide.
And Earthquake, you gotta understand. The guy said Reese defend Kamala Harris more than Doug.
I know. I mean, for black women, Kamala Harris is right below Jesus. You can't say nothing about her. So you got to understand, Reese, they just jokes. It's never personal, and you know what I mean. But people do say she's hard to work with. That's what I said. You know what I mean? They say she's hard to work with. You understand?
No, it was something worse than that. It was something worse than that. But it's all good. But I did want to ask you, because like I just said, I have been a fan of yours since the Comic View days and the jokes about the baby having an attitude, about, the roaches and all that stuff. But, now I feel like where, at least in the social media sphere, so much about comedians are being dominated by the content creators, the people that are finding ways to whittle comedy down to 15, 20-second clips. But I don't see your style as that kind of style. So how do you balance, your career and, having the talent to put together a full show with those that are gaining a lot of popularity from these quick clips and, doing this content creation on social media?
Well, I to be quite honest with you, I celebrate these young brothers that's able to do 15 or 20 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes of content. But I always know if they want longevity in this profession as a comedian, you're going to need a consistent 30 to 35 to an hour to make a living off of this and to fulfill the job requirement of a comedian. You must grab that mic and make people do something that they can't make themselves do. Laugh continuously. And until they achieve that, I'm always comfortable. Always.
Nola. Nola.
Happy. What?
Damn it! Wake up! I done called your ass twice.
I just not heard you. Just
Damn.
now.
You over there? You over there nodding off? Greg is in Egypt and he heard me.
See, he a little feisty tonight, y'all. He a little feisty tonight.
Man, you must be in need of some gumbo or something. You over there dozing off.
I never start. See, y'all see how this man just started with me. I was just sitting here minding my business. Happy 30 to you, Earthquake. I'm gonna go there. Because Roland too feisty right now.
Thank you.
Happy 30.
Thank you.
You know, I agree with Reese. Like, I definitely grew up on the, Comic View, Def Jam sort of comedy style, and that's what my question is about. I am one who loves inappropriate humor. Like, I love inappropriate humor. Maybe it's because it's what I grew up on. And in this environment that we're living in, there's a thin line between inappropriate and offensive. And I'm curious, like, how are comedians that have more of a kind of inappropriate style of humor navigate in today's kind of political ecosystem, our social media ecosystem, getting called out, getting canceled, all these different things. How do comedians like adapt to that thin line of offensive and inappropriate?
I'll phrase, Earthquake. How y'all deal with these soft ass people?
Oh my Lord.
I don't personally even, when I write a joke, I write the joke, and the first ingredient in the recipe is being funny. So if you take my joke offensive, then that's on you, because I don't know you and it wasn't written for you. And so I don't know how other comedians navigate it, but me personally, I just sit down here and stay with the formula of, is it funny? And if it's funny, then it's time for it to put it on the assembly line and send it on out there. So I really haven't adjusted any of my game or how I do my comedy based upon what everybody else do. Jay-Z said it better than anything. I don't let anybody rush my process. My process is mine. I don't worry about how they doing yours, how they doing theirs, or how the world take it. I do my process and let it go, and it's been successful for me. Some comedians want to be offensive. Certain comedians are not funny. They're looking for offensive. And some just not educated enough to know that that's just not funny.
Well, the reason I'm saying soft, because I don't get the people who go to comedy shows and swear they go into some speech or whatever. Listen, okay, I keep saying comedians gonna crack on anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, but this whole notion, no, you can't make fun of them. You can't make fun of them. You can't make fun of them. I'm like, damn.
Well, I mean, certain people go there and just to be offended. We live in a place now that people get on social media looking to see who offend them. And you got to understand that. And, I tell them all the time when they come to my show, I don't travel with a monkey. So I don't need no one to assist me with my jokes or be a part of my show. And it pays the same. They'll pay me the same money for an hour talking about you. They pay me for the hour that the show that I already had together to perform for you. It's your choice how you want it.
Well, a lot of these people sure as hell couldn't deal with Paul Mooney. Greg Carr, go ahead. Greg Carr.
You gonna yell at him
You're
now?
muted. You got the Nola syndrome.
Yeah, I sure do. I got caught up. My bad. I'm sitting here laughing. That's what it is. I don't want to laugh out loud. Thank you, Roland, and thank you, brother Earthquake.
Nola, why you got your lip? Nola, why you got your lip all turned up, Nola? She like.
Really, you didn't hear what I said.
She like.
I want to yell at him the same way. That's what I was trying to know. When something's wrong with you,
consistent. Keep it consistent.
Greg, go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say is thank you, brother Earthquake. Your style, you're able to deal with some topics that are important with us, and you have us laugh. In fact, I really enjoyed Legendary, the whole health is wealth byline. We laughing, but you also address some serious issues, and that's kind of where I want to go with this. By the way, these ain't jokes. I think that is the phrase that allows that point of entry for you to balance this. Could you say something about how important it is to manage your business? I know, man, between Uptown Comedy Corner and everything else, you've always owned. You've always controlled yourself. And so, how important is that, particularly for young comedians and other people that trying to be influencers, to try to hold on to as much of yourself as you can? Because when it comes to business, these ain't jokes. You've been able to do it.
Well, my mother taught me that. The reason why I had my own comedy club, because they wouldn't allow me to perform at their comedy club. So I called my mother and was crying, and she said, like I told you, when the dude you beat up for not allowing them to ride their bike I told you, you either get your own bike or don't do without a bike. And so get your own club. And she installed that in me to have my own, to be independent. And to be quite honest with you, man, the fear of depending on somebody else for my future and my standard of living is the biggest fear I have always had. So that's the greatest thing about being financially secure, is the independence that comes along with the money. And I did not, to be able to take care of yourself. And I just don't want to be one of those artists that have an unsung episode living with my grandma, brother. You understand? I don't believe there's nobody out here, no matter how much they love you or not, that's going to take care of you better than you're going to take care of yourself. And the only person you really can depend on is yourself. So, the only way you can make sure that you're taken care of, if you become independent and own your own and look out for your own.
I saw, I don't know what the hell it was the other day. I was watching some video where you were talking about that people don't realize most of the comedy clubs in the country are owned by white people.
All of them except 3. And we're the number 1 selling comedians in the world, black comedians. But as usual, we don't own anything. We're consumers. So we have to, they don't want to hear us in their facilities, honest. I mean, let's be honest with you. If you own a venue and you love hip hop, but people ain't listening to hip hop, but the people who wants to rent out your venue listen to country music, you're going to facilitate to those people. And that's what we're doing. They don't like the type of comedy that we do. They prefer to have their type of comedy in there. But unfortunately, there's no comedians of my Caucasian brothers that's selling tickets that we do the way we do, because we don't have any venues of our own. And that's the sad part of it.
And so what I say, that's another example of when you talk about monetizing the culture, we end up being the show, they end up being the business.
Exactly. And I owned about 3 comedy clubs. I had the aspiration of doing, solving that problem, because if you look at it, it's a multi-million-dollar business. And most of the greatest comedians ever was black comedians, went on to be superstars. But we turn in billions of numbers. Like in your hometown, that club holds 450 people. You do the math, $50, $60 a ticket times 420 a night times 7 shows. That's a weekend's work.
Wow. Well, hopefully more people will be getting the message. That's one of the, I think it was, I forgot who asked the question, maybe Nola Reese. That's why I do like when I see these brothers who are taking advantage of social media. You look at Country Wayne, what he's doing, how people told him, oh, you're not going to be successful, how he parlayed his social media, selling out venues, now doing his own movies. He's not waiting for somebody to say, you now have permission to go forward, young man.
Yeah, I mean, he's brilliant. I love Country Wayne. You have so many comedians that's doing their own, selling their product, and we're making strides, but it's slow as usual.
Yep. Earthquake, where you at next?
This weekend, you can catch me in Chicago. Then the week after that, I'll be in your hometown, Houston, looking for you to do this dance off.
Earthquake, I don't know why you keep...
And then, listen, then after that, the MGM in my hometown in Washington, D.C., sitting down here September the 1st. I'll be at the MGM with Live Nation.
All right.
You cannot dance, man.
Okay, all right. Here's the whole deal. Your show is at 8 o'clock on September 1st. I'm going to get off my show early on September 1st, and I'm coming to the MGM Grand. You tell the DJ what song to put on, and listen.
Uh-oh.
No, see, let me tell y'all what happened. We were at Sister Circle in New York. It was again Sister Circle, and Earthquake was talking all this shit about that's an Earthquake. Come on, dog. He like, yeah, I saw you dancing. You don't want none of this. And so that was about 7, 8, 9 years ago. His ass been running from me like he is Forrest Gump ever since. He keep claiming we're gonna do a dance off. All right, you pick the day, pick the time, and I'm gonna sit here and just blow your ass out the water.
See, them Q dogs just do that same shit all the time. They do that line dance and think they dancing. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna blow your back out, man.
See, here's the mistake you making. You just said the Q dogs. I'm an alpha. You can't mess. See right there. See.
One of you educated gang members.
See,
you understand what I'm saying? That's all y'all fraternity.
That's a little boys group.
Gang members.
That's a little boys group. This a grown man group. I'm there. I'm just letting you know.
I'm telling you like this. I'm gonna do you like that chick did. I'm gonna take your chicken. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna take your chicken and show everybody you got nothing on me. Rolling.
When
I'm from Washington D.C.
When I get done with you, Henry, you gonna grab one of these. When I get done with you, when I get done with you gonna grab one of these, Earthquake. When I'm done, you gonna say, man, let me knock his ass off the stage. Just letting you know.
I'm gonna be ready for you, just like they was ready for him.
Well, you better.
I don't want no excuses.
Well, you better go stretch. You better go get you a massage. Go get you some icy hot, because I'm letting you know I'm coming for you, and I'm gonna cause the earthquake.
September the 1st at the MGM dance off with me and Roland Martin. I'm gonna bust you up. My name is Terrence Crawford.
All right, I'm just telling you right now. You better go hire the best cut man in the country, and the best cut man in D.C., because when I'm done with you, you're going to look like Errol Spence.
Okay. Martin Luther King had a dream too, Roland.
And guess what? Martin Luther King knew how to dance as well. I'm done, and he was an alpha man as well.
I knew that was coming.
I love you, man. I love you. And sisters and brothers, I love y'all too, man. Stay strong and keep doing that good work that y'all doing. Roland, I love you, man.
Love you, baby.
Always,
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right, y'all. That is it for us. Greg in Egypt, Reese in D.C., sleepy ass Nola.
I'm not, brother. I ain't gonna defend for my sister. It's 3
Come on, Roland. You going out petty.
What? Come on.
Abuse.
No,
I haven't been on, I don't know how long, y'all, and this is my welcome. See, I don't do nothing to this man but just sit here.
No, I had to call you 3, 4 times.
That was your audio.
That wasn't me.
Oh.
Our stuff worked.
It was silent, Roland. It was silent.
Hey, audio guy, was that you? He said, no, it wasn't me.
That was the audio guy.
He said, that wasn't me.
She understand. I'm going to stick beside her. I'm going to stick beside Nola. It was silent.
Yeah. She be
Y'all sticking up for the gumbo queen. Okay. All right. All right. We got to go. What you say, Nola? What'd you say?
Almost November. Let's go.
Say what?
It's almost November, man. That Thanksgiving pod is already calling me.
November?
Yes. Thanksgiving.
What the hell are you talking about Thanksgiving in November? What?
Gumbo. Roland, what is wrong with you today?
Hold on, you ain't really from Louisiana, because, see, we would eat gumbo if it's 105 degrees in July. You only got to eat gumbo in November?
I feel like you goading me into making a pot in 105-degree weather, and that's not going to work.
That ain't no big deal for us, boo. Real gumbo connoisseurs can eat it June, July, August. We can do it in the heat, in the winter, in the fall. I don't know. We going to check your gumbo card.
I'll punch it. Come on.
We gonna check your card, because if you nah, it's too hot to eat gumbo.
I ain't say none of that.
That's what you sound like. That's what you sound like. What'd you say, Reese?
That sound like you got a dance off and a gumbo off. That's what I'm taking.
Hey, guess what? That ain't no problem. I talk trash just to be able to back it up.
How you got so pumped up an hour ago? What you was sipping on? What's going on?
Hey, Nola, I'm telling you right now, you don't want none of this, Nola. If you want a gumbo, if you want a gumbo cook-off, this is the only thing I'm gonna tell you.
You don't remember that little video I made for you on Christmas when you were talking crap about my gumbo?
I mean, your gumbo needed some help.
Oh, for real? You were in my gumbo pie?
I mean, it was like giving me Tamron Hall vibes.
Oh.
Why is Tamron Hall in it? What did Tamron do?
Oh, because Tamron made a gumbo. I was like, Tamron, that's rice and gravy. Stop.
Oh. Can we come? Can we taste? We can be in the judge.
All right, let's see what Nola got. But I guess we gotta wait. I guess we gotta wait till it get cold. Which I don't know, might not be happening with climate change. So we'll see. All right, y'all.
Off of climate change.
All right, Greg in Egypt, Reese in DC, Nola. She in DC too. Don't forget, y'all, to get y'all shirt. That's right here. Your hashtag team whip that ass shirt with the chair, and of course on the back it says "Bring the Funk." Y'all support Roland Martin Unfiltered. Go to blackstarnetwork.com, RolandMartinUnfiltered.com to get your shirt. Folks, don't forget, support us in what we do as well. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Support us by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible to do what we do. Send your check and money orders to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland@RolandSMartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Go to, please. Get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of Americans Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. Download the audio version on Audible. Buy your copy on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Books A Million. Don't forget, you can watch our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week streaming channel on Amazon News. Just go to Amazon Fire. Also, tell Alexa, play news from the Black Star Network. You can also catch us now on Plex TV as well. So search for Black Star Network or go to under Live TV. Click News and Opinion. Finally, Birmingham, I am in the house tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. Damn, I'll leave tomorrow. I got to go pack. Book signing, Harambe Room, 1815 4th Avenue North in Birmingham. Be sure to RSVP so you can get your slot, because, we're going to sell books out fast. Book signing is 6 to 8. My man Roy Johnson from AL.com is going to be interviewing me. RSVP at info@RolandSMartin.com. The book is White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Y'all, that's it. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow right here on the Blackest Show in the land. Roland Martin Unfiltered. Black owned and proud of it. Holla!
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?